The Last Letter of Liberty Hill, Part 2, The Map Beneath the Church. The following morning, sunlight streamed through the mist rising off the valley. It should have been a peaceful day, birds calling from the pines, the faint hum of wagon wheels in the distance. But to Eleanor Whitfield, Liberty Hill no longer looked the same. Every building she passed seemed touched by some secret shadow. The church spire, once a comfort, now loomed like a sentinel guarding the truth her husband had hidden beneath its floor. All night, she had stared at the papers from the box, the federal seal, the strange sketches, Samuel's cryptic words. She hadn't slept. She couldn't. By dawn, she made up her mind. She needed help. James Ashford. He was the only person who might make sense of what she had found. Eleanor reached his camp near mid-morning. Ashford was hunched over his maps again, a pipe in his hand when she approached. His eyes lit up when he saw her. "Mrs. Whitfield, back so soon?" She hesitated, then pulled the small metal box from her satchel. "You need to see this." He took it carefully, running his fingers across the worn lid. "Where did you find this?" "Under the church floorboards. It belonged to my husband." Ashford set aside his pipe and lifted out the documents. His brow furrowed as he read. "Department of the Interior, 1863, Project Liberty Hill?" "Yes," she said. "Do you know what it means?" He was silent for a long moment. Then he whispered, "Good Lord." When he finally looked up, his voice was grave. "This isn't just a town secret, Mrs. Whitfield. It's part of something much larger. I've seen similar directives in Washington, buried programs from the early days of the war. They called them concealment settlements, remote towns built to guard something or someone." Eleanor felt a shiver crawl up her spine. "Guard what?" He pointed to the sketch. "Look here. These tunnels, they lead north toward the river. But this symbol," he traced the mark shaped like a double star. "That's a military designation. It usually marks storage sites, munitions, or experimental technology. But this date, 1863, was too early for that kind of code. Whatever they hid, it must have been older." "Older?" she asked. Ashford nodded. "Some historians believe that before the war, surveyors uncovered structures in these hills, ruins, artifacts that didn't fit the frontier history. The government kept them quiet, fearing panic or exploitation. Maybe your husband stumbled onto one." Eleanor tried to imagine it. Samuel, gentle and soft-spoken, leading soldiers through the wilderness only to discover something the world wasn't meant to see. "If he found something," she murmured, "then why build a town over it?" "To protect it," Ashford replied simply, "or to bury it forever." They decided to return to the church together. By afternoon, the sunlight slanted through the pine trees as they pried up the remaining floorboards. Beneath them was a dark cavity lined with stone, just large enough for a man to crawl through. Ashford lowered his lantern. The light revealed a narrow passage descending into the earth. The air smelled of damp soil and iron. Eleanor hesitated. "He built this," she whispered, "or helped hide it. Either way, we're about to find out what he was protecting." He went first, easing himself down the ladder. Eleanor followed, her heart pounding. The tunnel was cold and silent, except for the echo of their footsteps. Moss crept along the walls, and old timbers supported the ceiling. At the end of the corridor, they reached a small chamber. On one wall hung a rusted lantern. On the other, a wooden crate sealed with wax identical to the box upstairs. Ashford broke the seal carefully. Inside lay a rolled parchment, several small glass vials, and a book bound in cracked leather. Eleanor lifted the book. The cover bore Samuel's initials. "His journal," she breathed. Ashford handed her the lantern while she opened it. The pages were filled with neat handwriting, smudged with dirt and age. She began to read aloud. March 18th, 1863. They told us to clear the valley for settlement, but we found the caves first. They go deeper than any man expected. At the lowest chamber, we found stone walls, smooth, carved, older than any I've seen. There were markings I cannot read, symbols that glow faintly when touched. Captain Haynes says to destroy them. I cannot. I feel they are important, sacred even. Eleanor's voice faltered. Sacred? Ashford leaned closer. He found ruins, possibly pre-Columbian, or something else entirely. She turned the page. March 23rd. Washington has sent orders. The site is now Alpha 47. We are to erase it from all maps and build Liberty Hill above it. They say it's for national protection, but I fear it's to hide the truth from the people. If anything happens to me, I've hidden the key beneath the church. The key, she whispered. The box. Ashford nodded. He left it for you. They examined the rest of the chamber. Along the far wall, behind the crates, Ashford noticed a narrow crack in the rock. He pressed against it, and part of the wall shifted, revealing a hidden door. It opened with a low groan, releasing a rush of cold air. Lantern in hand, they stepped inside. The chamber beyond was vast, a dome of smooth stone. Strange carvings spiraled across the walls, symbols unlike any writing Eleanor had ever seen. At the center stood a circular slab embedded with a pattern of stars. Ashford's breath caught. These aren't natural formations. Someone built this. Eleanor traced one of the carvings. It glowed faintly under her touch, just as Samuel had written. Suddenly, she felt dizzy. Images flashed in her mind, fields, fire, soldiers shouting, and Samuel's face, whispering something she couldn't hear. She stumbled back. Ashford caught her arm. Mrs. Whitfield. I saw something, she gasped, like a memory that wasn't mine. Ashford stared at the carvings, awestruck. These symbols might be older than our nation itself, some kind of energy, a remnant from a civilization long gone. Eleanor steadied herself. He must have found this, realized its power, and built the town to keep it safe. Ashford nodded slowly. And the government turned his discovery into a secret project. They hid the truth even from history. They sealed the chamber again before leaving, covering their tracks carefully. By the time they emerged, night had fallen. The town below glowed faintly with lanterns, and smoke curled from chimneys. To anyone else, Liberty Hill was just another quiet American town. But to Eleanor, it now felt like a monument built on a buried miracle and a man's impossible choice. As they walked back toward her cottage, Ashford spoke softly. You realize what you've uncovered, don't you? This could rewrite history, but it could also bring danger. If anyone else learns about this site, especially in Washington, they'll come for it. Eleanor nodded. Then we keep it secret for now. They stopped before her gate. The lantern light flickered between them. Ashford hesitated. Mrs. Whitfield, I don't know how long I'll be here, but if you wish, I'll stay and help you uncover the rest of your husband's work. She looked up at him, this stranger who had stepped into her past like a ghost, given flesh. For the first time in years, she felt something stir inside her, not fear, not sorrow, but hope. Thank you, Mr. Ashford. I think he would have trusted you. He smiled faintly. Then that's trust enough for me. That night, after Ashford left, Eleanor sat by the window again. The valley spread below her. The stars were out, bright, endless, almost echoing the pattern she had seen on the stone slab underground. She opened Samuel's journal once more and turned to the final page. It was dated April 9th, 1863, the day before his regiment disappeared. If anyone finds this, know that I did what I must. The valley holds something greater than war or country, a light from before we had names for such things. I could not let it be used for destruction, so I sealed it away and built this town as its guardian. Eleanor, forgive me. When you see the stars above Liberty Hill, remember, they shine for what we were meant to protect. Tears welled in her eyes. She whispered to the night, I forgive you, Samuel. But in her heart, a question still burned. What did he seal away beneath that stone slab? 2 days later, news arrived that changed everything. A telegram, delivered by horseback, from Washington, D.C. It read, To Mrs. Eleanor Whitfield, Liberty Hill, you are hereby requested to surrender all materials relating to Project Liberty Hill, pursuant to Federal Order 207B. Failure to comply will result in investigation and seizure of property. Agents en route. Office of the Interior, Washington. Eleanor stared at the message, her hands trembling. They knew. From somewhere in the distance came the sound of horses. To be continued. Part 3. The Agents from Washington. Federal men arrived to seize Samuel's discovery, forcing Eleanor and Ashford into a race to uncover the final secret buried beneath Liberty Hill, before it's erased forever.